Well, joining me now in our Lagos studio to discuss the trade ties Nigeria has with the United States and new trade prospects that we ought to explore, I have the Chief Executive Officer of Finance with Mukta Mohammed. Good to have you on the Breakfast Show, and it's good to see you in 2021.
Yes, good to see you in 2021. Happy New Year and compliment of the
Same to you. It's a new dawn for America. At this point in time, let's now analyze the Trump America First agenda and what we expect now in terms of what Joe Biden and his teammate Kamala Harris are bringing to the fore in terms of international relations, areas where we've had strained ties most especially.
Well, Donald Trump made it clear from inception that it's American first. So he followed that policy right from the day he came into office. I might be calling it wrong, he's the first American president that never even had any trade agreement with any African country, never visited, never seen Africa as a trade partner. So you could say with Nigeria, we had a bilateral air treaty with the United States. I think that seems to be the only trade agreement we had with them. And also, we also had the time during the COVID pandemic that he came up there and helped Nigerians with some ventilators. And so after that, we've not had any dealing with the United States. I have not seen Nigeria. Rather, we've had a lot of issues that have to do with immigration and non-immigrant visas for Nigerians were stopped. We also had, immigrant visas for Nigerians were stopped. We also had issue that has to do with our, even in the World Trade Organization, also backing about. One thing he did for Nigeria that no other administration did was that he allowed us to purchase weapons for the fight against terrorism, and I think that was one of those achievements of Donald Trump, because if you remember that even the time of Barack Obama and even Joe Biden as his vice president, they refused to sell weapons for Nigeria during the fight over Boko Haram. So in terms of security, I think Donald Trump was ready to help Nigeria out of the terrorist issues that we had. But in terms of trade agreement, I think we didn't have it very good with Donald Trump.
Now, with Joe Biden known for his multilateral approach, at this point in time, do you think we're going to see a change in body language and the perception we have in terms of America's stance? You look at the kickback we had in terms of the second term of Akumi Adesina for the president of the AFDB, as well as Dr. Okonjo-Iweala as well. The American side had its own concerns, especially with the strained ties with the Chinese team as well. Do you think we're going to likely see a change in that direction? Because most definitely the team is going to have to work closely with the World Trade Organization. And at this time where we're looking at sustainable financing and also peacekeeping within the African Union as well, what sort of level of integration do you think we're going to see that would then translate to trade volumes that we expect?
I think with Joe Biden, if you look at his administration, is the first administration that had about 50% color and 50% Native American. So we are going to see a lot of change in terms of administration, in terms of business, in terms of the way things are being done. And again, even if we will say they are Nigerians, I think we have in Nigeria a Nigeria as a deputy Treasury Secretary, which has never happened before. Exactly. And that's a very high post.
Adewale Adeyemo.
Yeah, yes. That's a very high post in that cabinet. And that has to do with a lot that will have to do with trade, will have a lot to do with financing, will have a lot to do with financial inclusion. I remember that this administration have also, Joe Biden administration have come in and to see how it can help the people of color to be able to stabilize compared to what they had during the Donald Trump era immigration. So we see a lot of remittance coming into the country also from most of our people over there. So by and large, you look at that, you say, okay, there will be an improvement. Then when you look about the World Trade Organization, you should realize that the United States is not just like any other country. They are driven by policy, not by person. So unless it was a political vendetta, then you see a change in terms of what they said, unless they are not telling us what they really say. Because if you look at what they said, they were saying that it's not that they attacked the person of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And fortunately, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala also holds an American passport, so indirectly,
it's just the perception of how she would handle those ties with China.
With China, and also knowing fully whether China totally backed her to become the World Trade Organization. And also they said in terms of our past record, she was just a Minister of Finance. She didn't have so much experience in terms of trade dealing. That was for Akumi Ambode own. Akumi Adesina, we know what played out their intent because they were the largest shareholder. They wanted them to be seen to be doing the right thing, which is normal for any shareholder. So for that, I think it was a plus to Africa. It was a plus to us that we had a leader that was finally accepted and cleared of corruption. Then if you're looking at would there be an improvement in terms of trade volume with Nigeria? Fortunately or unfortunately, in America, we have to sit down and see, do you want to do trade relationship with a country, or you want to do trade relationship with Africa as a whole? With the continent, because the African trade agreement comes into play by the end of January. So America will be looking, do we attack it with a country, or do we attack it as a continent? So then when it comes to continent, they begin to look at infrastructure, they begin to look at ease of doing business. And if you go into those details of those things, we might be having a talk.
And talking about consolidating efforts towards the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, we also have to bring into focus the part of investment and trade we've seen over the past few years, 2018, 2019, 2020. You look at China still pulling quite a strong win leading. You look at the United Kingdom, France. America does not necessarily have its best foot forward in terms of trading with Nigeria. How much do you think we should also explore AGOA as well? If we're looking at export volume as well, still consolidating on the internal measures we are taking to boost our production base and a whole lot more as we spread into the African continental free trade area agreement.
What really happened between Nigeria and America did not start during Donald Trump. Remember, they stopped buying our oil a while ago, even before Trump came to
But we have had further declines, and with this renewable energy agenda of Joe
Biden also, we might have further decline. So what I see there is that we need to look at our competitive advantage. Fortunately for us, Joe Biden won't be playing ball with Chinese. We won't want to play ball, so they will look at our in-way into Africa. And so, but if you want to look at an in-way into a continent, then you begin to look at the infrastructure, you begin to look at ease of doing business, you begin to look at the institutions that are established there. Then you look at other variables. And if you look at that, it won't be a curious task for the United States of America to want to do the type of trade volume they want to do. And not that they don't do. We have a lot of, most of the businesses that we're doing are bilateral trade. The greatest impact between Nigeria and the United States in terms of business is just the bilateral air trade agreement, whereby we have Delta Air being there, like the national carrier comes here as any other time. Then we have to, Nigeria also is planning to have their own national carrier go to the United States. That seems to be the only volume in terms of volume of trade that we have with them. In terms of when we're trying to be the real sector, we talk of import, export, talk about food production, we talk about employability. We have not really gone into that, though we have a lot of agreement. Remember that when President Buhari took over, the first people he visited them was with the United States to see how we can open up. And then the United States will always come up with, remember, we also have the issue during the elections when they have banned some Nigerian officials from. So we have a lot of issues to resolve with the United States, but the greatest trade partner of the United States in Africa still remains Nigeria because of the presence of Chevron, which is much more like an American company.
Let's now talk about the role of the Nigeria-America Chamber of Commerce as well. These are agencies and bodies that also help to wield a stronger force in terms of pushing the Nigerian agenda forward, in terms of smoothing and also having much more engagement with the American counterparts. What do you think, what new forecast do you think we'll see in terms of engagement, investment portfolios coming here? Do you think we still carry the picture of the numbers population, or we have security now throwing the whole opportunity out the window?
I think we still carry the number, then security also comes in as a challenge, not actually train up the numbers of the window, but it's a big challenge. I think it's a private sector driven, so it does not involve itself in government policy.
I make this comparison because at this point in time, with the body language of America, anywhere that is not secured is not an investment area at all.
Yes, definitely. But again, sometimes when they know they have their investment, they will be interested in security. Like I told you, the only advantage Nigeria gained with Donald Trump was in the area of security. So if they are not thinking of their investment, they can't be putting in so much in terms of security into Nigeria. I think the Nigeria-American Chambers of Commerce is also a private-driven organization. It has a lot to do, but again, it can only do based on the physical policies, then pressing out to the American government. So it acts as a pressure group for both Nigeria and America to see how we can do business. I am looking forward to whereby we don't have to begin to look at them. You go to other countries, if you visit America, if the South Africans come into America, they can come with their South African currency and be able to change it right there in the airport and get the American dollar and go and do business. I'm looking for an era where we could go in with the Naira, then we exchange it to dollar right there in America, then we do business. That will ease the pressure on our currency, and also will bring down the cost of also doing business with America. So those are things that the American Nigerian Chambers of Commerce will be fighting to, but all those is depending on the policy direction of the federal government. It's just like what we normally say, monetary policy can do their own, fiscal policy have to come up with a policy to support what the monetary policy are doing. So the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce may have all the trade agreements, must have all the strategy in place. If the government is not supportive of them through policy direction, we can't make any headway. We
would like to see sustainable trade relations and then a boom for both parties. It has to be a win-win. This is 2021. We've all been hit by the COVID-19. We have a whole lot of tax in terms of the fiscal and monetary aspects. But at the end of the day, we need that strong commitment from both parties of government. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show today.
Pleasure.